Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I am Catarina. I am from São Paulo, Brazil. And I wanted to make two questions to Jon. The first one is about violence. You talked a bit about it today. And the situation in my country is very bad, not only because of the pandemic condition, but also because of the politics. And I often feel very hurt with this structural violence. And what I try to do is try to be an example of non-violence in my relations. But somehow I still feel it inside. I can't get rid of it. And the second question I wanted to make is about dreams, because also once I'm trying to not be violent in my daily life, my dreams are being more violent. And I wanted to know how do you consider the dreams in your daily practice? Because when we are dreaming, we are not falling awake, but we are not either falling asleep. It is a way to investigate who I am in the moment, but it's not about necessarily being aware. So I wanted to know, what can you tell me about these two subjects? Thank you very much for everything.
Well, thank you, Katerina. Well, if we start with the violence in Brazil, um, it's huge. I'm aware of it from a very large distance, but haven't experienced it directly. And I really sympathize with your feeling like it's having its effects on you. When injustice rains down on other people, you can either turn away and pretend it's not happening, or you can witness it from near or from far, and really often feel like, what can I do as one little person? And a lot of it is really structural. I mean, it's in the institutions, it's in the government, it's in the police, it's in the favelas, it's in, the poverty. And it's a very profound question, what you can do about it. There's so much beauty also going on at the same time. And I got the impression that you were saying that you try your best to kind of emphasize the beauty, but still it gets to you. And maybe, you're helping in whatever ways that you can, and still it gets to you. And I think this is one of the sort of experiences of toxicity that we can't hide from. The world, in some countries more than others, but it partly depends on how privileged you are in the society. The toxicity ultimately is horrible, and the people who are the poorest, usually the least resourced, experience it the most. There's no easy answer to this question. Turning away, of course, becomes its own act of violence and harms you as much as everybody else. Finding the right ways to do it. What comes to mind at the moment is like giving kids in the favelas, instruments, and having them play in that orchestra that, is so famous for, an attempt to bring music into the lives of children who, experience a great deal of that violence. There's no simple solution to it, but recognizing that there is this kind of violence and trying to find ways to recognize it and do what you can is an important part of your own humanity. Then, of course, it won't let go of you, even if you can let go of it, because it comes up in your dreams, as you're saying. And so your second question is like, well, you know, how do I deal with that? If there's no escape, you can't even sleep because the violence and the horror comes to you in the dreams. And I like that you said that dreams were also a place where you could work things out. And, you know, there is this whole, and a lot of meditators actually experience this, that they can cultivate lucidity within the dream, meditative awareness within the dream, and actually change how the dream unfolds by being aware in the dream. So waking up within the dream, cultivating mindfulness within the dream. I am not a big expert on that. I have not had that experience myself at all. But there are resources out there that you can pursue by just looking up lucid dreaming and mindfulness or meditation together. And I think you'll find some interesting and inspiring sources around it. Evan Thompson is one person who comes to mind in a book called Sleeping, Dreaming, and Dying, or something like that. I'm not sure that I'm maybe confusing his title with some other title, but he wrote a book about mindfulness and dreaming, which you might find very interesting. He's a wonderful philosopher. And more than that, I really can't say. I mean, violence is one of the most horrible aspects of the way we treat each other, and is part of the reason that mindfulness and compassion are so important at this juncture in time, and that we need to transform our institutions so that we basically outlaw violence, legal violence and illegal violence. And that's, you know, sounds very utopian, but there are societies that do a much better job than my country or your country. I'm thinking places like New Zealand, you know, where even so the violence visits in spite of everything. But how you create a culture that minimizes it and recognizes that we ourselves are violent. I'm guessing you also have violence. I certainly recognize the violence inside myself. So it's very hard to sort of assuage it or attenuate it in other people or institutions unless we recognize that we're part of the problem too. I don't know if that's at all helpful to you, but I hope it responds at least a little to where your question is coming from in your own life and heart.
Thank you very much, not only by these answers, but by doing this every day. It's been very inspiring and helpful. And I'm pretty sure that everybody that participates here can also contribute to their communities in a more non-violent way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good luck to you.